All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Bellflower City Council. It's Thursday, April 25th, 2024, 8:33 in the morning. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Dutton. Councilmember Morse. Here. Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Santainez.
Here.
Mayor Coops.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse the absence of Mayor Pro Tem Dutton.
I'll second the motion.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilmember Victor Sanchez, supported by Councilmember Sonny Santinez. Without objection, that'll be the order. Public comments, Mr. Smoot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3A, the public may address the City Council only on matters listed on the agenda. Those wishing to speak on a listed item should come to the podium, be recognized by the mayor, and state your name for the record. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the City Council.
Seeing no one in the chambers, we're going to move on. So we're going to go with closed session. Ryan, read the closed session item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The council will be recessing to closed session for one item, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation.
All right, so we have no recusals or conflicts, so
I need to recuse myself on 6B.
okay.
Not yet.
And give the reason why, please.
Work. No, sorry. Personal business.
Okay. Good enough. Let the record show such, and so we'll retire to the other room for a closed session. Okay, we're going to reconvene. We're all back in the council chambers, and there are no reportable action from closed session. And we'll move on to 6A, Mr. Smoot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 6A is actually going to be Mr. Delalonga running this one, actually both these items.
I don't really, thank you, Mr. Smoot. Good morning, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. There's really no presentation for this item. It's a ratification of a previous item that for the acquisition of 16730 Bellflower Boulevard, the former M-Power building. We are bringing it back to you for ratification because of an error in the public hearing noticing that went out. And so we're bringing it back to you in an abundance of caution to ratify that decision.
Thank you. So, is there any questions of what was just indicated? If not, I'm looking for a motion to open.
Mr.
Okay.
Just a clarification. So basically, the motion would be to ratify Resolution 2416. So since we took action already at the last meeting, would that be the appropriate motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it would be to open the public hearing. There are no speakers here.
No, but at the end.
Close the public hearing and simply ratify the action that previously was taken. As Mr. Delalonga said, this was an abundance of caution simply because the noticing was slightly off the first time around.
Okay. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Good. So we have a motion by Councilmember Sonny Santinez and supported by Councilmember Victor Sanchez to open public hearing. Without objection, that'll be the order. No one here to give testimony. Is
I'll
there
make a
anyone?
motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right. So the motion to close the public hearing is offered by Councilmember Sonny Santinez, supported by Councilmember Victor Sanchez. Without objection, that'll be the order.
And
now-
with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the City Council of Bellflower to ratify action taken by City Council on Resolution 24-16.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Sonny Santinez, supported by Councilmember Wendy Sanchez. Please. Wendy Sanchez, I married you off again. Wendy, aren't you a Mormon? Anyway. Well, at least you're listening to me, yeah. Wendy Forrest. So anyway, please poll the council.
Councilmember Morse.
Aye. Or here, yes, aye.
Aye, yeah. Now you lost your
Now I
train of
lost.
thought.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Aye.
Councilmember Santainez.
Aye.
Mayor Coops?
Aye. All right, moving on, 6B.
I have to recuse myself for personal business.
All right, let the record show that Wendy Morris is leaving the room. So Mr. Jim Dialonga has the floor.
Once again.
Okay.
Good morning, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. So the item before you today for your consideration is the purchase of property at 9835 Flower Street, the current U.S. Post Office site. The subject site is located east of Bellflower Boulevard on Flower Street. It is composed of two parcels containing the 18,924 square foot post office building on 60,891 square feet of land. The site is adjacent to the city-owned public parking lot on Flower Street. Last year, the property was listed for sale for $8 million. In early 2024, the seller reduced the asking price to $5.1 million. The property is currently under lease to the post office, and the lease expires in May 2027. There are no options to renew remaining on the lease. The tenant, the post office, pays $251,163 in annual rent. A review of recent comparable sales in downtown Bellflower indicated the asking price is within the range of fair market value. There is a pending escrow, however, for this property, and with the adoption of this resolution, the city would then be in position to acquire the property if the escrow falls through. It is the city's intent in the long run to lease or sell the property to a business or developer that will contribute to the economic development of downtown Bellflower. All proceeds from the current and any future leases or a sale of the property would then be deposited into the city's general fund. Included in the agenda packet is a summary report required by Government Code Section 5220. Did I forget to change the slide? No, I didn't. That describes the salient points of the acquisition. Now I change the slide. And staff is recommending the City Council open the public hearing, take testimonial and documentary evidence, including receiving and filing a report required by Government Code Section 52201, and after considering the evidence, adopt resolution number 24-20, amending the fiscal year 23-24 operating budget to allocate funds for the property purchase and authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase and sale agreement in a form approved by the city attorney, or alternatively discuss and take other action related to this item. And that concludes my report, and staff is available to answer questions.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions from council?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just for the record, for the benefit of the public, what is the market value of the property? Are there any kind of reasonable comps?
Yeah, the staff did some number crunching about recent sales in downtown Bellflower, and for land, the approximate value of that land ranges from $80 to $90 a square foot.
Okay, so within the range of the
We did, yes.
comparables. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Mayor.
Sanchez, any questions?
Yes, and really more of a thought and just a small discussion. I know that we talked about this in closed session as we were purchasing it, or as we were making the agreement on the numbers and so forth. But I know we haven't purchased it yet. But my question is, we all know how important this post office is for us,
For the community.
in our community, right? And so, obviously we know that development is slow. We acquire property for economic development and so forth, and it may take 5, 7, 10 years. And, for that instance, for that reasoning, would it be paramount for us to include some kind of a language that the best effort or the attempt to incorporate that post office in whatever development we do be kind of, what's the word I'm going to use here, cemented in this motion or in this agreement as what we're doing here, so that in case, I'm not on council, or the three of us aren't, does that make sense, what I'm trying to say here? In case that we're not on council anymore, and maybe it takes longer, maybe it takes, 15 years, who knows?
So you just want to memorialize?
Yeah,
it.
we
There you
need to
go.
memorialize it, is what I'm saying. That there's an important effort here to, of course, do economic development, but we want to also incorporate and keep the post office, unless they decide to leave.
If they want to stay.
If they want to stay, I mean, yeah. If they decide to leave, that's on them, right? But at least we as a city and as an elected body, we're doing our best effort here to keep them. I just
Okay.
would not want to not be on council,
Right.
you know, if it takes 15 years or so and there's a decision made otherwise, you know. So just,
And I always think about what if we got into a situation like 2008 or 9 when there's no development because the economy's stagnant and no one wants to do anything, and we want them to continue to rent from us. But I'm going to turn to the city attorney. Can we include what has been suggested in the agreement, or is it not appropriate until we get to the point of talking to the tenant?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I would simply have the council direct the city manager to express the strong preference of the city council that any future project include, to the extent possible, the U.S. Postal Service building. If we actually memorialize it into an agreement, you are limiting the ability of a future council to have greater flexibility. So I think the notion of the city council should be expressed to the city manager, which can be certainly relayed to any future economic development and any planning and incorporated into it.
right. And I wouldn't say put it in the agreement on the purchase or anything like that. It would be more of an internal thing.
Make sure that the meeting minutes reflect it.
Yeah, that the minutes.
I think that's
reflected-
the angle. And I will say this, even in our conversations thus far with the broker, we've expressed that we would like to start conversations with the post office as soon as possible so we can
Right.
sit down and build that relationship with them so that we have a standing relationship going forward. We've already kind of started that conversation, but if we want to include something in the minutes that,
Right.
That
Well,
that's our goal.
and I know that this body and this, the staff as well feel as we do that it's important that we, in our efforts, when we do economic development, in this case, in this scenario, that we do incorporate the post office. And so the question is not now, it's, 15, 20, who knows how long it could take. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we can do something in the
right.
next 5 years and then we're all here, we take care of it. But does that,
That makes sense.
Can we add that in the part of the resolution? That something like to the effect that we'll use best efforts to keep the post office in that location.
I would suggest
Something like that?
the path that Carl proposed here is to leave the resolution as is, but give us the ability to put something into the minutes to reflect your intent in that. And we can certainly carry that conversation forward as we're having conversations with the broker and as we start conversations with the post office. I think everyone's intent is pretty clear in that. We can carry that forward, but I would suggest leave the resolution as is.
Along those lines, perhaps you can just give direction to the city manager to ensure that any requests for proposals for redevelopment of that area include the specific direction that, to the extent possible, the post office will be retained.
I'm comfortable with that,
Okay.
right? That there's a direction and that would have to be overturned.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. That works.
We can take that direction.
Perfect.
I keep wondering whether or not the post office knows that it's being sold. I mean, there's nothing in, I've sold buildings before and never went around to the tenants and said, hey, I'm selling the place, So we'll see. So that concludes questions or any comments?
No, yeah, that
No,
concludes my
okay.
questions, Mr. Mayor, and I appreciate the discussion.
All right, so we're ready to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second that.
All right, so the motion made by Councilmember Sonny Santinez to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Well,
I'll
let me
second it.
get to the point where we open it and amend it. And then there's support to open the public hearing by Victor Sanchez. Without objection, that'll be the order. Now, we'll do the second part.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second the motion.
All right, so the motion's now to close the public hearing, and that was made by Victor Sanchez and supported by Councilmember Sonny Santinez, and without objection, that'll be the order. So it's time for a vote.
All right,
Resolution.
resolution. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the City Council of Bellflower to adopt Resolution 24-20, a resolution authorizing the city manager to amend the fiscal year 2023-24 operating budget and execute a purchase and sale agreement between the city of Bellflower and Arioto Kali Properties, Inc. for the purchase of real property located at 9835 Flower Street, APN 7109-013-036 and 7109-013-037.
Do we have support for his motion
Do we need to incorporate the?
with the verbiage or
but that's not the
direct-
resolution, though.
No, not a resolution, not part of the resolution, separate.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be in the minutes.
I mean, got, I'll second that motion.
All right, so the motion's been made by Councilmember Sonny San Ynez, supported by Councilmember Victor Sanchez. Please poll the council.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Aye.
Councilmember Santinas,
Aye.
Mayor Coops.
Aye. So that concludes our work with that. We're going to reconvene at 11 o'clock for the Bravo Award ceremony, so I will not be adjourning this meeting, and staff will take care of the adjournment at the appropriate time.